In this particular module, we're going to be discussing how you can get into the mind of your customer, right? How do you get into their heads? How do you know and are able to decipher the right kind of people to serve? Remember, we spoke on one of the previous modules about finding your tribe. Now, in this case, how do you ensure that you really get into the mindset of your customers so you're able to create a very profound and particular marketing message to get across the line where they find themselves inside of you, where they find resonance, where they find some sort of mutuality or see you as some sort of kindred spirit that represents them, represents their values, and they see you as a champion for whatever they personally believe in. And this module perhaps is one of my favorites. Let me get myself adjusted again. Right. So this module itself is actually one of my favorites because now we're going to get into the mind of your customers. So, sweet. How do you do this? Now, I know that there's the whole conventional business, demographics and psychographics. And while all of that is great, I'm not going to belabor that concept. For those who perhaps don't know that, what that speaks to is you need to be able to identify to a T the kind of client you want to serve. So, where are they? How much do they have? What books do they read? Where do they go to church? How do they relax? All that sort of stuff. So that's great from understanding the demography. Are they between 22 and 50? Are they Black women, Caucasian women, Asian women, as an example? All of those things are great. But I have a different way of looking at this because, yes, buying can be a logical decision, but first, buying is really an emotional decision. What is it that causes guys around the world to desire to own a PlayStation? Right? What is it about them? They're like I have to have it. It's a game, but there's something about it. They bought into the idea that this is how relatively high value men relax. Every successful young man has a PS5 that he can switch off when his family goes out and he wants to relax and he wants to be with his thoughts. He can just sit down and game and play and just be in his own world. Every guy needs a PlayStation 5. And if your partner doesn't have a PS5, it might make for a great gift. So that's not a logical decision per se. That's more of an emotional decision that he wants it, he wants it, he wants it. And if you watch a lot of videos where ladies are surprising their significant others with PS5s, you can imagine how you can see how emotional the guys get. And it may not be a PS5, it may be a type of car, it may be a type of watch, right? There's an emotion that causes people to respectfully lose their shit to say that they want to get this kind of purchase. What is it that causes women to say they go gangbusters for a Birkin bag? I mean, it looks like a bag. It is a bag, but it's Birkin. What is it about Birkin bag? Logically, it shouldn't make sense, but emotionally, that's what gets people over the line, right? And you've got to be able to learn how to contrive the same feeling for your products and service. So, in order to do that perfectly, like I said, you need to get into the minds of your customers. And this is what we're going to do. So, I'd like you to do this for yourself as well, irrespective of the business that you're in. But for this particular exercise, I'm going to use maybe a fashion business, right? The designer fashion business, okay? And this particular business owner, you're the business owner, and you major in maybe creating designer clothes for plus size women. And the industry keeps moving and moving and moving, but your niche really is creating amazing designs for plus size women. There's no reason a plus size woman shouldn't look in a really nice dress or whatever. But that's your niche. You're incredibly proud of it. How are you able to communicate that, get into the mind of the customer so that when you're able to get into their minds and you feel their pain, then you can craft an incredible marketing message, right? That conveys to them and makes them feel like, oh my goodness, how did you know? How did you know? Like, for you in my mind, this is the exercise we're about to do. Okay. So let's do this. So you're a designer and your niche is for plus size women. What I want you to do is to become this client, get into the mind of this customer, become this client. Okay. And I'd like you to write it or voice it from a first party perspective, not a third party perspective. What do I mean by that? If you were doing a third party, you would say, my client's name is Rachel. She's 33. She's got 2 kids, blah, blah, blah. That's third party. But if you do it from the first party or first perspective, you become the customer. So in this case, if I were to do this, I'll say, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm 33 years old. I've been married for 6 years and I've got 2 amazing children, Tomiwa and Charlie, right? And before I got married, I was the belle of the ball. I was beautiful. I was the kind of friend that my girls didn't want to take out to clubs or party with because they knew that every man in the room would just ditch them and not even notice them. And every guy in the room would make a beeline towards me and just want to chat me up. So I had more than my fair share of male attention until I got married. And when I got married to my man, and Tunde, that's my husband's name. I thought it was a fairy tale dream come true. I was living with the man of my dreams. We had this picturesque wedding. It was great. And then I got pregnant. And all of a sudden, I noticed something weird that my size 8 body that used to torment and taunt other women was no longer a size 8. I found that during the pregnancy, I went from a size 8 to a size 14. My husband didn't mind because he liked, like he said, he liked having a little bit more meat on the bone. And I could actually fill my dresses out. So I was a little bit bigger, but I still had my curves and I was still sexy as hell. And I still made my friends jealous. And we didn't mind. I loved my new body until I had my second child. And then my size 12, 14 body went all the way to a size 22. And that's where I am right now. I no longer recognize the woman in the mirror. Um, as much as possible, I avoid mirrors, right? I just can't recognize myself anymore. When I meet my friends and we hang out, I know I'm no longer the woman that attracts that attention. For the first time, I know exactly how they felt to be invisible. And now that the roles are reversed, I even hear them making fun of me because they're like, you look, when are the twins due? Because you look pregnant. And even though I'm not pregnant, I've delivered my 2 kids, but they keep taunting me now because I look like a pregnant woman. And they call me, mother in Israel because I remind them of these old Christian mothers or grandmothers. That's how far gone I feel. When my husband wants to make love, I insist that we turn the lights off because I don't want him to see me the way I am. And I'm very self-conscious about myself. I mean, before I was very self-conscious for what I thought were the right reasons, but now I feel very self-conscious because I don't like how I feel. But even though I'm now this size, I haven't lost my passion for fashion. I still know how to spot a great dress. But the only problem now is I can no longer fit into great dresses. And even the dresses that I see that people make for plus size women, maybe size 20 and above, they're not stylish. They're just like big boo boos or big clothes designed to hide your curves and edges, and I have a lot of, I really can't say what I have going on as curves, but it just feels like every dress the plus woman size woman buys is designed to just be like an ugly sack with some random colors. There's nothing stylish about it. I really wish I could find a designer, in this case you. I really wish I could find a designer who knew how to, you know, I want to walk into a room and be noticed for my style, not necessarily for my size, if that makes sense. I want to wear dresses that don't show my size. I want to wear dresses that amplify my style. And that's what I'm looking for. Now, if you did that, and if you felt what I did you notice a couple of things? You felt the pain of this individual. You got into her psyche, you got into her mind, you felt her pain. You could speak to the fact that she was self-conscious. You could speak to the fact that she no longer felt like she was the one noticed, or even if she was noticed for the wrong reasons. You're not a weight loss expert, so that's not your forte, but you could tell that her goal was to be noticed for her style, not necessarily her size. She still, irrespective of her size, she still loves good dresses and good designs, but isn't able to fit something. Now, if that is you as an example, as the designer, it is so much more easier now to craft a marketing message where you can take certain themes, and when you put it out from a marketing perspective, you can say, this is for the woman who wants to be introduced style first and size last. Come on, man. Do you see what I did? Did you see what I did? Do you see what I did? See, this was, I'm good. Don't mess with me. I am amazing at what I do, right? Do you get what I'm saying? This is for the woman who wants to be introduced style first and size last, right? Where size is not on, do you get what I'm saying? And all of this came from this marketing message that we just created, right? This is for the woman who wants to be, style, conscious. So if I was designing this as an example, I imagine a flyer, and the word self, it shows this plus size woman as an example, and in one of your really nice designs as an example. And the title says self conscious, and the self is canceled. And instead of the self, you just see something that comes over it, and it reads style conscious. Boom. Without saying too much, any woman who identifies with the pain of being self conscious now recognize that there's a different alternative, style conscious. Do you get what I mean? So your brand can literally become, um, as an example, um, you know, hypothetically, attention grabbing designs for the style conscious woman, as an example, right? But none of this would have happened if we didn't get into the mind of the customer. And this is what we did. And this is why it's my very favorite module of all. And I want you to be able to do the same. I want you to think about your clients. I want you to think about their pains and their frustrations. What bums them out the most? What are they running from? What are they running towards? What are the inner conversations that they're having in their minds? And how can you articulate those conversations? And remember, listen, the essence of what we did just right now is not necessarily to um, speak more English. Yeah. It's being able to articulate their pain, frustration, and desire. Right. And that's what I want you to do. Okay. Maybe in this video, perhaps at the end, what I'll do is we'll create a prompt that can articulate this, um, like a prompt for you to use, that you can use to create your own, marketing message to get into the mind of your customers. Okay. Enough said. See you in the next one. Peace. I hope you're enjoying this. So, do you see why you're in this program? Because this is amazing, man. We keep it simple, we keep it 100, and I know it's practical for you. So, see you in the next one.